Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to the channel. Tonight I'm going to be telling you guys the pros and cons of living in a camper full-time. I have gotten so many questions about this on my Instagram and just my little daily vlogs that I thought I would go ahead and make an entire video kind of just going through what I've learned so far. I'm by no means a professional at this, nor have I been doing it for a long time, but in just a short amount of time I have developed quite a list of pros and cons, so let's just get into it. The first thing that is on my pros list is that camper life definitely gives you a sense of adventure and independence. There's just something so different about being in a mobile place that you can take anywhere that really feels like you can completely do what you want with it. A house is very limiting, I found. I don't know if this is like a personality thing, but I definitely felt very stuck in my home. I don't know if it's just because I like adventure or if I really don't know. But living in a house for me, I felt very like stuck and just very much like I was doing the cookie cutter thing that everyone has to do. Like everyone just kind of follows the same mold. You know, you go to high school, you graduate, you go to college, get like a corporate job, get a house, get married. Yeah, I don't know if it's like a personality thing or just something that I feel like everyone goes through, but I think with us, like buying a house at 23 was amazing and we were so grateful and we are so grateful. I just saw it like the same day-to-day routine, just like I don't know, I feel like for me I always have to have something to like work for, and like once that was done it was like I kind of just felt stuck. I don't even know how to explain it. It's given me just like a sense of adventure and independence that having a house kind of didn't. Alright, I'm gonna do another pro. The next thing I had on my list was it's definitely a good financial decision, at least it was for us. Obviously you don't have to pay for rent if you're not at like a campsite or something. If you're just on private property, you don't have a mortgage to pay for, so definitely have to do research there, but for me that's definitely a big pro. I'm gonna go into two cons now. The first con that I had is you cannot be high maintenance like living in a camper, and I basically am saying this towards like girls. So there's definitely gonna be times where like the water goes out, you don't have electricity. For me, I didn't have a problem with. I honestly love like roughing it and just kind of like feeling like I'm camping. I love to get dressed up, don't get me wrong, but there's something just about like not needing those things that I love. So you definitely cannot be reliant on like hot water, electricity, the luxuries of life, because they are luxuries. You will not always have them in a camper. The first probably 2 weeks we were in this camper, it wasn't hooked up to electricity. We were running off of solar. No, we didn't have any hot water. Like the fridge didn't work, the bathroom didn't work. You know what I'm saying? It makes you appreciate it though when you do have running water and like AC or heat, for instance. A lot of people told us that we weren't going to be able to do it, like because we didn't have AC hooked up, and it was obviously like the dead of August, you know, 90-degree days, whatever. But honestly, me and Grant just think it's fun and we were able to do it. But I will say, if you know that about yourself, if you know like you have to have heat, AC, hot water, a working fridge like at all times, it may not be the life for you. Second con I have is you have to be very adaptable and willing to like roll with the punches. So like for instance, if you're a very routine person and like things coming out of the ordinary of your routine stresses you out, camper life may not be for you, because you really just have to be able to get things done when they come up. Last night I was in the middle of like cooking dinner and my propane ran out. I had this whole meal in the oven and on the stove, and it's 10 p.m. and you just have to kind of deal with it like when the problem arises. Little things like that can be just an annoyance, but you really can't let it bother you. Little leaks will happen, your hot water might just not turn on one day. Camper life will definitely keep you on your toes, that's for sure. I'm gonna do one more con. You do have to be willing to like make mistakes and learn, because camper life is completely different than homeowning by miles. Everything is just different, like the electricity element, the plumbing, down to just the insulation of the house and the camper. Like everything has its own system, and I'm so grateful that Grant knows how to do all of that. He's just been very willing to learn. He grew up in construction doing contracting work, and so he's good like when it comes to houses, but even he said himself like camper life and campers are just completely different. But just honestly, it's a learning process. Everyone had their first camper and their first night in their camper at some point. Another con that I wrote down is missing the space, which this one, I threw this one in there because I just feel like I have to mention it. For me, this is not at all a con. I love being in small spaces because it forces me to have less stuff, and a lot of stuff really stresses me out. So I feel like it's a plus for me, but I did put it on the cons list just because a lot of people are not like that, and I feel like that's something you really need to be aware of. I really didn't have to get rid of anything when I moved into the camper, but it is something to keep in mind that a lot of people have to do. So I would just say be mindful of the space difference. We went from like a 3-bedroom home to a camper, obviously, and that can be a lot for most people. For me, the last pro I'm gonna say is just less items, less stress. Living in a camper has definitely, it makes you see the beauty in life because you're really not attached to items as much as living in a house. And I know that might sound a little crazy to some people, like it's not that deep, but for me it is, because it makes me appreciate the things that are around me more than the things that are in my house. For instance, a lot of people buy, you know, their dream is to have this huge mansion with a pool and a tennis court and multiple rooms and a theater, and like it's very almost secluding in a way. You just want to be in your house and you have all these things in your house, and it can be very overstimulating, even though that's amazing. Like I'd love to have that one day. Living in a camper, the reason why I say this is a pro is because it forces you to downsize. It forces you to have less things, less items in your way. It's a very small space, and so a lot of times we're going out more than we used to. There's just not a lot to do inside your camper. It forces us to want to go places and travel because we're living in a mobile home, and so the world just kind of becomes bigger. Waking up, opening my door and seeing the mountains around us, hearing all the sounds, you know, there's less insulation in the walls obviously, and so if there's a creek running by you, you can hear that, and like the birds chirping in the morning. Things that are normally a negative in the house, if you can hear a bunch of stuff, it means your insulation isn't very good. You know, things you would look at as a negative way. Living in a camper, I've learned to really appreciate it. That is pretty much everything that I have on my list of pros and cons. Again, I have only lived in a camper for a month, but it has been full time. I've gotten used to it very quickly. So yeah, I felt like now would be a great time. I'm gonna refilm this video probably in another month and we'll see what I have to say then. But that's my list for now, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.